Okay, welcome to another video. Today we're taking a look at a brand new Linux distribution called Quibian. However, the name might suggest that it's based on Debian, but from what I can tell it's based on Ubuntu. So it's an open source and free operating system, currently runs desktops and servers. It's oriented to education, scientific research, robotics and software development. So it can run on anything. There we go, ready for use everywhere. Quibian is made to be used on any device at any time. So they offer two versions. We're on the standard version here, which requires 10 GB of free hard disk space for the installation. And then they have Quibian Edu, which I'm going to imagine stands for education, which will have a lot of that sort of robotics and software development stuff that was mentioned in the download page. And this version requires 30 GB of hard disk space, so it's 3 times the size that you need there. However, the ISO is only about a gig larger, so the ISO for this is 2.6. Whereas the ISO for this one is 3.5. Installation, very easy, just uses the Ubuntu Ubiquity installer. I went for the defaults on everything and I let it do the automatic partitioning for us, so we'll have a look at how it set up the disks in a moment. RAM wise, on the first boot, we done an update and then I rebooted it, installed HTOP, and we were about 870 I do believe. Yeah, so it's using 879 megabytes of RAM at a fresh installation. Right, what we're going to do then is have a little look around. We've also installed OBS, which comes with VLC and a few other things. But for the most part, that's all we have done. And there is our HTOP running now, and we have got 2.5 GB RAM currently in use. And it did make us a swap file of 2 GB. And you'll find your swap file right there. So that swap file is what's corresponding with that, which is the 2 GB swap file. Okay, cool. So let's have a little look at what applications it comes installed with out of the box. On first impressions, it looks okay. It's pretty much a standard GNOME affair with quite a few extensions from what I can tell. We'll play a game of guess the extensions in a moment once we've installed tweaks, because I don't think this has it installed out of the box. So it should be running version 3.36.3 of GNOME. Let's just double check that that is correct. There we go, so version 3.36 of GNOME. Quibian 20.04.1 LTS, and the windowing system is X11. Right, let's get into it then. So we have two buttons here. One's going to be the overview, and then the other's going to be a GNOME extension called Applications Configurator or something like that. So let's jump into that one now. Any applications? There we go. So it's separated them into some nice app folders for us with categories like accessories, games, graphics, internet, office, sound and video, and system tools. I'm not sure what these icons are. I think they're Numix Circle. We'll have a look at that once we've... Do we have tweaks installed? Let's just have a look. No. Also, I can see that this wallpaper is blurred. So we're going to have an extension called Blur, B-L-Y-R, for GNOME, which gives you sort of like a pseudo blur on your top panel and also the wallpaper in the activities overview. So let's see what applications we do actually have. So in accessories, pretty standard stuff. You've got no maps, no to do. Anything out of the ordinary in here? No. Okay, we won't worry about that one. Games would just be the standard suite of known games like Mahjong 2048. I tend to just steer clear of these little games and probably uninstall them. Graphics wise, we have Document Viewer, which is Evince, ImageMagick, Image Viewer, LibreOffice Draw and Document Scanner. Internet now, we have Firefox for our web browser and transmission for torrents, so not too much in internet. So I did see on the website that it had something like Zooms or something. Is that Microsoft Zoom or Teams? I have no idea. But they're not actually installed, so by available it just means they're there and ready to use. They might be installed by default on the Edu version. We'll have a look at that towards the end of the video. In fact, let's quickly install Virt Manager, because we'll run it in there. Okay, let's let that do that. So that was internet. Office wise, we've done that. So sound and video, you just have Cheese, which is a webcam viewer, Kazam, which is a video capture. Yep, video capture. And then we also have, so we installed OBS ourselves. So we have music and videos, which is probably like Totem, GNOME videos and music. And then VLC came as a dependency for OBS. Anything in system tools that's out of the ordinary. So we have Deconf Editor, which lets you sort of change certain settings of your desktops. If you're going to org and GNOME, you can do a lot of stuff like that with your dock and all that good stuff. Let's see what else we've got in system tools. Startup Disk Creator, terminal, obviously. GNOME software. Nope, Ubuntu software. Let's see what the Ubuntu software store is. So I think GNOME software usually just calls itself software in the application title. So I don't think this is GNOME software. Oh, wrong button. Where you gone? There we go. Right, so this is the Snap store. So obviously we have snaps out of the box. I wonder if we have any snap packages installed. No, just the standard stuff then. So you have the Snap Store, GTK Common and Core 18 and stuff like that. So you might want to install a different store. We won't worry about that for now because we're only doing a little run through, but it does come with the Snap Store out of the box. Okay, so let's play a little game of guess the extensions. So I think we have got the applications configurator, whatever it's called. We have the drop down Quake terminal. We have FM radio. We have a workspace switcher here. Can we drag things? Oh, we can. And obviously because the GNOME workspaces is automatic, so every time you open something new in another workspace, it will open up another workspace. There we go. You can just do it as like a manual number, like 4 if you wanted, but I quite like it on the automatic. Let's go back. And then we have open weather. Let's. I won't click on it yet until we know that's what it is. I want to see how many of these I get right. Okay, our clock is here. So usually your clock would be in the middle. So that's Frippery move clock. Do we have anything in here out of the ordinary? No. Okay, let's install GNOME tweaks then. Let me just double check that there's no extensions package whatsoever in here. Nope. Nope. Oh, we also have Quant Search as another extension. So you can search for things in a search engine straight from your desktop. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'll probably disable that. I don't really think I need a web search built into my desktop. I'd rather just search locally, and if I need to do a web search, I will jump in and do a web search, but it's there for those guys that might like it. Okay, so let's now install GNOME tweaks then. GNOME tweaks. That's also going to install the extensions package as well from the looks of it. Right, let's open up tweaks and jump straight into tweaks and we'll see what this theming is. So it's got quite a few rounded corners, which seems to be a trend at the moment. A lot of desktops and themes are going the whole rounded corners route as of late. Right, so in appearance it says everything is Yarrow, but that can't be right, can it? Yeah, that doesn't look like Yarrow to me. The colours might fit, but I don't think that's correct. Interesting. Okay, we won't worry about that. Shell is just the default. Icon says Yarrow as well. That can't be right. These icons are like Numix. So if we go into Numix Circle, yeah, so it is Numix. I'm not sure what's going on with the theming. To be honest, it doesn't seem to be set up to be working quite correct, or at least the titles aren't right from what I can tell. That's quite odd. I've not experienced that before. Okay, extensions. So we have activities configurator. So we're 1 for 1 so far. We have the app management folder extension, but I do believe in the newest versions of GNOME that isn't actually necessary because you can just drag and drop anyway and then create folders like so. So we don't really need that extension, which is why it's disabled. Applications menu. So blur. Blur is what's giving us this blur on the wallpaper there. Let's go into the settings and see if I've not used blur in quite a long while. Okay, so it does do the panel as well. So let's make the intensity really blurry and also really blurry for that. So as you can see now, the wallpaper's got a real good blur going. It's not like a KDE level blur from what I can tell, but it's sort of like a pseudo blur almost, and it only works on activities overview and the panel. So let's change the wallpaper and see if we can see how well the panel's actually blurring. Let's go to change background. And let's just go for this one here. Okay, cool. That's not too bad of a blur. Let's bring it down a bit. So blur intensity. There you go. Okay, that's not too bad at all. We'll leave it on, let's say, about 20. There we go. Okay, so we're doing good with our guesses so far. Oh, so it does have caffeine installed and it's enabled out of the box. So we just have to press this little button here. And then that will disable any sort of automatic suspend and screensavers and stuff. Quite handy if you're watching a long movie in a weird player that sort of does still trigger the screensaver. I always just do that. Quit overview. Click quit overview. So click an empty space in the overview and then that'll close. Okay. Dash to dock, which is at the bottom. It also has dash to panel. So if we click that, you can then just use a panel which will turn it into a one panel and you can edit the size and position of it like so. But we're going to leave just the dash to dock. Okay, so it's moved our clock back to the middle, so I think I am right that it is FRIP remove clock. Yeah, so here's FRIP remove clock. So if we enable it, disable it and re-enable it, that's now moved our clock to the right. So we have GS Connect as well, which is a sort of a front for KDE Connect to connect your Android device wirelessly. Internet radio, which is this bad boy here. So we have some net speed plugins and stuff. Let's give that a go. There we go. We're getting up and down little net speed as we're going. We'll leave that one there actually. Panel indicators, move power network, blah blah blah. Open weather. Let's see where it has got us by default. There we go. We are in Vaku Tuvulu 28. I think it's probably hotter here at the moment, to be honest with you. It's been real hot lately. Removable drive, show application, sound. Okay, so then that will add a little sound and input changer there. Tweaks and system menu. Anything else I want to see? CPU frick out of the box. So I do use this sometimes on the GNOME on my laptop. This will let you change the sort of power profiles of your desktop and your CPU and things like that. You will need to type in your password though. And then you can change the profile from high, balance, power saving, etc. Okay, let's disable that though. We don't really need that for now. And then we also do have the Quake mode drop down menu, which is F1 on the shortcut keys. I do believe we can make it span the whole length of the desktop. So let's give that a go. I'm wondering whether that's going to work though with these rounded corners. It might look a bit funky. Let's have a look. So if we go into the settings here, and we'll put the width all the way up to 100. And then we'll try it again. Yeah, so it spanned the whole size of the screen, but like you can see, the rounded corners does make it look a bit off, at least to me anyway. Okay, let's see what HTOP is saying right now. Okay, so we're still at about 2.3 GB. Right, let's get out of this. You won't go into your swap if you've got quite a high sort of level of RAM, because your default swap value will be 60 VM swappiness. God, I haven't done this in ages. Swappiness. There we go. So your default value for your swap is 60. Usually always is on most Linux distributions. Right, I do quite like this theme though. I'd be interested to actually know what it is. I know it's got the sort of Yarui colours from what I can tell, and I don't usually like themes with a side panel like that on Nautilus, but it doesn't look too bad. It's got a nice little sort of border effect as well. Let's see what some other applications look like with it in this theming then. So let's see what LibreOffice looks like. Let's go for Writer, and then let's also open up what's another application. Let's go into all applications a moment. And let's also open our image viewer. Let's go into graphics, image viewer. There we go. Okay, so this will be version 6.4.5 or something. 6.4.5.2. And do we have dictionary? We should do. We do indeed. Lovely jubbly. And of course, you'll have side-by-side splitting, much like you would on any GNOME distro. Bring it back. I don't mind that, to be fair. It does feel a little bit unnatural though, because the workspaces on GNOME goes up to down, whereas that's like a left to right kind of deal. So it does seem a bit off with the transitions. Right, let's get out of that then. We don't need to save that. Okay, how is our download going? So I want to see what this education version's like as well. So that's on 17 minutes. That's going to take a little while. So while that's doing that, then let's just install a couple more things, because I am going to need to edit this video on this machine. So let's grab Kdenlive, but we're going to get the app image. Oh, I'll tell you what, let's break the mold a bit and let's use a snap for once. We never use snaps and we've already got it installed, so let's go for it. So Kdenlive. I'm going to get it from the snap. I don't have to download all of the KDE dependencies and stuff. Is that snap? URL snapcraft. Yeah, that should be snap. Let's install that bad boy. Okay, so that's installing Kdenlive for us. We don't have GIMP either, do we? We're going to need GIMP as well. Okay, so we're going to need GIMP as well. We're going to do GIMP from apt though, and because one's installing from snap and one's installing from apt, you can install more than one thing at once. Whereas if they were both from apt, you wouldn't be able to until that one had finished. Okay, cool. So I do believe we've got a little bit of time to wait. So I'm going to pause the video in just a moment, and then we'll come back to it and we'll have a little virtual machine running of this education one, and we'll see how that set everything up as well. So libvirtd is not running. I'm not going to bother starting it now, because we'll just do a reboot once the download's finished, and then it will automatically start anyway. But if you wanted to start libvirtd without doing a reboot, system ctl start libvirtd. So now if we reopen it, that should just work. So we might not even need to do a reboot. Let's go to Virt Manager. There you go. All good. Right, let's just pin that to our favourites. And let's make our dash to dock a little bit smaller. That's quite large, isn't it? So let's go back into tweaks. Do we have tweaks open? We don't. Let's go back into our extensions. I am quite concerned that these theming seems a bit off. I'm not sure what's going on there. So let's go back into... Oh, and it automatically has the minimise and maximise and things. So I do like it when GNOME does that, because I like GNOME's keyboard shortcuts quite a lot. Like, you know, if you wanted to just minimise, you do Window and H and then restore it and things like that. But I also just like having a button there as well. Right, let's go into our extensions and go back to dash to dock, wherever you may be. There we go. Okay, so it's already shrinked off. So let's go into here and change the size of the icons to about 24. Much better. Okay, so it's also got a dynamic colour there, so it's from transparent to dynamic, which is quite nice. What's controlling that then? Is that the theming? Because I didn't see dynamic panel transparency in the extensions here. No. Unless blur has an option for that? Panel background brightness? No, I'm not sure what's controlling that. It must be the theme. Nice though. Okay, we're going to pause the video here and hopefully this won't take too much longer. We are downloading from SourceForge, unfortunately, so it could be anyone's guess. So we'll be back in just a moment to check out Quibian Education. I'm going to say it's for education. Okay, we are back. So we're going to go ahead and install that now. We need to find the ISO. Let's just browse the local downloads, Quibian Edu. Right, we're going to just put it through as Ubuntu because this basically is Ubuntu, so that shouldn't be too much of a worry there. Yeah, we'll leave that like that. Yep, that's fine. Yep, I'll tell you what. Yeah, that's fine. I'll leave it like that. Okay, here we go. So you wouldn't get that view in the EFI version. We didn't get that when we done on a computer because this is BIOS on the virtual machine. It have a slightly different sort of layout. So let's go into Quibian Live. Oh, can I cancel disk checking? Control C. Oh, we keep getting a couple of these little error messages. Interesting. There we go. We managed to skip that disk check. Right, let's jump into it then. So Quibian, and it reds out the eyes. I'm not sure what that logo mascot is meant to be. It's an animal of some sort, but I'm not sure what animal. Okay, it's taking a while to get to the desktop. There we go. Right, let's just change the resolution as well. So let's go to display. And then go to resolution 1920. Have we got? Yeah, we do indeed. Lovely. Right, let's just straight ahead and install this. We'll have a look at what it comes installed with out of the box. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, you get a little desktop widget there telling you a few sort of information about your RAM, CPU, power cord, etc. Okay, it's taking a while to open up the installer. There we go. So let's go to next. So this is the installer. Like I said, it's very standard Ubuntu-y stuff using Ubiquity. The theming doesn't appear to be quite as nice as it should be because the corner's trying to round off there while the window's still active. English UK. Right, we're going to go for normal installation. Install third-party software. Crikey, I'm getting a lot of problems with this one so far. Erase disk. Continue. Yep. Right, user accounts. So the installation took about 6 to 7 minutes on native. I'm not sure how long it's going to take on here. Just want to quickly check if there is anything extra on here. Yeah, there is. Okay, we'll have a look at that once we're installed. So I'm going to pause the video now. And then once that installation is finished, we'll be back and we'll have a very quick look at just the applications that this one comes installed with to sort of warrant that larger size of disk space required. Okay, so we're all installed now with the Quibian Education version. So it's pretty much exactly the same desktop layout. It's still GNOME, still got the same extensions, but I think the main difference here, getting some more system program problem detections there. The main difference is going to be the applications that it does come installed with. So there's quite a few additional ones here that I can see. Accessories for the most part should just be the same. Yep. Games. Okay, you got a couple extra games there from what I can tell. Gebra, have no idea what that is. So it comes with Blender. Oh, it also does come with GIMP. It has LibreCAD, Inkscape. Okay, so there's a few extra ones here. Dia. So in internet now you have Microsoft Teams and Zoom. If you use those, probably quite good if you do at school or whatever. I don't tend to use any of those sort of programs. KBrush, KTouch, and in Office again same, nothing new there. In programming you have Scratch and Squeak. So in science you have Avogadro 2, GNU Octave, Calgebra and Stellarium. Sound and video, you have PitV as a video editor out of the box. Don't know if I would have chose that one personally, but it's there. And then what else do we have installed out of the box on this education version? I think that is for the most part what you're going to get. So what I'm going to do is install HTOP and get a RAM reading. I've got a feeling it will differ from if we was running it natively, but we're going to check it out in this virtual machine anyway. Has this update finished? It has indeed. Right, let's install HTOP very quickly. And I'm going to do a reboot and then check what HTOP tells us, and then we're going to wrap it up there, and that's been our look at Quibian, the Ubuntu based Linux distribution. I think if I was to use it, I would probably start with the standard version and then do a minimal install on top of that and then see what that goes like. Okay, so here we are. Oh god, we've got Microsoft Teams starting up. Do not auto start. Right, I'm going to reboot again because Teams is going to throw off the RAM reading ever so slightly, but we want to get a fair reading of that. Okay, let's full screen that again. Right, let's give that another go. Oh, there we go. HTOP. Okay, so in 900, 894, so pretty much exactly the same. Due to the smaller size of hard drive though, it's limited our swap size to 1.20, 1.14 GB. Getting lower RAM reading on this one, but we are running in a virtual machine. So we're going to do one final RAM reading on the host computer, and then we're going to wrap it up there and call it a day, I think. I'm not too sure what I think about it. I don't know what really separates this from all of the other Ubuntu based distributions, but it has just come out, so you never know. Right, let me just stop the recording on OBS and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so the final RAM reading we're getting on the host now is 873 megabytes at boot. We have installed a few additional packages here and there and enabled some extra extensions, but that's not too bad for the most part RAM wise. That's been Quibian OS. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and join the Discord. There'll be a link in the description. See you on the next one. Bye bye.